All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to a very special episode of Candid Convos, where we talk with attorneys, unscripted, unprepared, and we have a chat about virtual staffing, virtual assistants, and law firm ownership in life. And today I'm very excited to have a dear friend of mine, one of my favorite people in the world. I'm so thrilled that he is now an official Get Staffed Up client. We didn't plan it that way. He didn't even know I was involved in the company. It's not like I solicited him. So just fortuitous, because Otis and I think the same way. We have a lot of the same goals. And so Landerholm Immigration, it's out in the Bay Area in California. And Otis, please tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do.
Love it. Yeah. Brett, I'm so happy to have a conversation with you. Absolutely. So yeah, my name's Otis Landerholm, and I run a law firm here. We fight for immigrants who are facing deportation. So a lot of work in immigration court. And yeah, where can I start? You know, Get Staffed Up really has been awesome. And we haven't been with Get Staffed Up that long, quite honestly. We just signed up, I want to say at the end of May, maybe early June of this year. So it's been like 3 months.
Yeah.
And the, if we're going to get right into it, our first hire was for a role that we call our case manager. And I wasn't really sure what to expect. And I was a little bit hesitant to start using overseas staff because, you know, I'm apprehensive. I want to make sure that our client's experience is outstanding. And I also want to make sure that our staff that are here in the office are, able to collaborate well and really able to get questions answered and make decisions quickly on cases and work seamlessly within everything that we're doing. And COVID-19 created this very interesting dynamic within my firm where, and I think within all firms, right, where now many of us are like forced to work remotely and forced to test some of our systems on, with a pandemic, but also with remote, like how can we get stuff done for clients, get work done, pivot, and still make things happen, even working from home. And so as we did that, I was like, wow, I'm actually grateful that this pandemic has hit, because it has forced me to up my game and to figure out, okay, where were we inefficient? Where were we totally dependent on our office space? And where could we, step into that law firm of the 21st century where now we can do some things remotely? And if we can do things remotely, and if we can make that work, then heck, we don't need to have staff, necessarily doing every little detail, every little thing here in the Bay Area at, California and Bay Area cost. And we can run a more efficient firm, run it more intelligently, and actually find better talent to help us move to the next level at a lower price point, and thereby save our clients cost. And so, yeah, it's been great.
Yeah. Well, you covered a lot there. So let me try to unwind a few of those things. So first of all, sure. You have Denitza and Anna right now.
Anna, yeah.
And you like them so much. I just saw that you're hiring more.
Yeah, I've got an interview like in an hour with another person we're hiring. We're going for 4 now. Yeah, so we hired one first, and then we've got we've hired Anna first as our case manager, then Danitza as a marketing assistant, and now we're going to have 2 intake specialists join us.
Beautiful. So here's the deal. I mean, look, you mentioned systems and testing your systems. I also appreciated, like in my law firm, we moved out of our office very quickly. We were out of there March 16th, and we were up and running a day later, fully virtual. Our setup worked, but now we're paying an ungodly amount of rent on space that we don't even use. One person, one,
I feel that
yeah.
100%. Yep.
And
Hmm.
so, but I'm grateful. I mean, I'm thankful that this has happened because it has forced us to relook at the things. And look, but just going to the monetary point of this, it's not about replacing people. It's about being able to add more services, right? Like we've hired client happiness directors and do better and more for your clients, and then pass on some of the cost savings. So the math essentially, it's not dollar for dollar because every firm's different. But if you have 10 offshore staff people through Get Staffed Up, if you're saving $250,000 that year than if you had 10 people domestically.
Yeah.
And so you're almost at five, right? Which would be basically 125,000. And the
Hmm.
thing is, people think, well, a lawyer's just rolling around in money. We've got expenses, and it's hard to run a business where you're not constantly basically breaking even. And so many businesses are breaking even. And
Hmm.
so profit is not a dirty word, because when you're able to have profit, you're able to breathe and relax and say, what fun thing can we come up with this month to enhance our client experience? Or can we take the savings and put it back? Or now that we've grown and we've been able to parlay our newfound freedom into more clients, who else, how many more jobs can we create here? I mean,
Yes, that's right.
there's so many benefits to doing what we're doing, but now I'm singing my own praises. So you and I haven't even spoken since you signed up, and yet you're saying all the things that I'm so excited to tell people. This is how it works, and this is why it's so great. And you'll finally look. Some people already had profitable businesses, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't have systems in
For
place.
sure.
They don't. I mean, the average lawyer was just like me 8 years ago, didn't know anything, didn't know what I was doing, no income, scratching by each month. I was miserable. And
Yeah.
that misery, I don't want to forget how painful it was. And that's why I'm so emphatic about helping people. And I'm
Hmm.
not afraid to say, look, you will have such a better life if you have a little bit of margin for yourself so that you can comfortably grow a business and figure out how to just make things great for your clients instead of constantly worrying about how to make payroll.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, and I mean, I could go on and on about that point. Like our firm runs at a very narrow profit margin, like uncomfortably narrow. And so things like the pandemic were happening, and it's like, oh crap, now there's fewer clients hiring us. It didn't go down to zero, but there are fewer clients coming in for appointments. There are fewer clients even calling our office because they just assume that lawyers are closed, right?
Hmm.
And so that was it was a scary situation for me to be in, as far as, okay, how long is this going to last, and are we going to be able to get through it, and how can we pivot to get through it? And so yeah, exactly. We hired Anna, who's in El Salvador, who's awesome. She's super smart, super like on top of it. And we had her just call all of our former clients. And so the first month, she called 200 people, and she was just doing client satisfaction surveys, right, with former clients. And for clients that were satisfied, she would ask them if they'd be willing to do a Google review for us. We more than doubled our Google reviews, our 5-star Google reviews in 30 days,
Wow. That's
right? And
awesome.
it
I
it
love
was awesome. We went from 41 Google reviews to 106
that.
Google reviews in 30 days.
And
And
it,
it was like that contributed to our SEO efforts getting up. That contributed to more clients coming in. And it's like, oh man, it was it was so great. So
I'm,
great. It's like, why didn't I do this years ago?
dude, that's a great story. And look, our pricing's on our website. So I'm guessing you're at the 1850 price point.
Mm-hmm.
You traded that for reviews that would have taken so look, there
We
are
never would have gotten to it.
no, well, first of all, you and I know, I mean, it's so hard to get there. Second of all, if you pay one of these companies, they want like $800 a month just to run automatic software for you. But that rarely works. You need to be a doctor's office with volume. So I
Yep.
haven't heard of anyone using a staffer yet for that, and I love it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was just like my first 30 days, like getting her trained up in how our office works and stuff like that, and us, quite frankly, testing the waters out and seeing if this was going to work. And so plus it's like, okay, let's get creative because of COVID-19 and have an excuse to reach out to all of our former clients, you know? And
That's
so it was like a win-win-win.
yeah, absolutely.
You know, the other thing that I was going to say is regarding costs. We had one of my attorneys was really apprehensive when we started to seek talent overseas. And she used to be, in her former life, she used to be an employment lawyer, a labor lawyer. And she was very struggling, right, internally with the philosophy about, okay, are we replacing American workers?
Yeah.
And are we just like, you know, no longer going to be hiring local, and are we going to be replacing everything global? And so we had that conversation. I actually had a meeting about it with my whole team, and I was like, okay, tell me what are our concerns here, and what I really want, and I said this to my team also. But what I want anybody who's listening to us right now to consider for themselves, if they're thinking that, is it's a beautiful thing to have that thought in their mind. Like, we do want to create jobs. Like that is something that we want to do for our communities. All right. And I believe that having hired people overseas helps us to create jobs locally as well. Like, it's not either or.
Right.
All right. It's not that we hire locally or we hire overseas. If we hire overseas and that helps us build up our margin, or that helps us become more profitable as a company, it allows us to grow locally and globally. All right. And really, the 21st century and the offices that are going to survive into the future will get that point. And the sooner we get it, and the sooner we embrace that, the quicker we'll be able to contribute in a larger scale, locally and globally.
So I want to point out something unrelated, but something very important, just because I want to acknowledge you for this. So many people would never take the time to have a meeting with their team and hear their concerns. Now, at the end of the day, it's your name on the law firm. You're going to make the decision. But by including everyone and giving them a voice, clearly you've created the type of culture at your firm where you guys can try things out, and you're going to say, I heard you out, now trust me, we talked this through it, and I'm glad we're all, it sounds like you all arrived at the same decision. But I just as I don't even know what to call this. I enjoy hearing other good leadership techniques and stories. And so I just wanted to mention, I really appreciate that. And I thought that was very cool and pretty important. Second of all,
thank you.
You will create more jobs here if you bring on people to supplement your staff. What if every attorney had an assistant that they otherwise wouldn't have, who's virtual, which will then increase their productivity, I would argue, by probably give them another 30% capacity by just not doing all the things that get in their way, which helps push the business further. And then lo and behold, you're hiring, domestically again. We're in favor of a good mix between domestic and international. But I also think, and it's interesting to talk to you as an immigration attorney, we're helping the global economy.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, so we only do administrative staffing, which means you're high turnover, lower paid positions anyway. If you live in Miami, where I am, or you live in the Bay Area, you cannot feed your family on $10 an hour, 40 hours a week. It's just not possible. You're gonna constantly be looking to upgrade your life and to find better paying jobs to do better for your family. So, those jobs have high turnover anyway, and turnover is expensive for a firm, and it's a constant just friction point. So if we can take those jobs that people don't really want to stay in, that live here, outsource them, and then, to me, help those other people, not get stuck where they are, push them up the ladder. But also, Otis, here's kind of like my non-lawyer, but just entrepreneur argument. Those people that are talented, they can get their own staff person, right, through us or anyone else, and start a business. This is my argument. Like, if I'm starting a social media business, right, I'm a 20-year-old, I'm starting a social media business. I need to get 2 clients paying me $1,000 a month. Now I've covered my one offshore staff person at $1,850, and it's all gravy from there. I'm going to spend all my time on making sales, and that person will be doing all of the important work behind the scenes. Isn't that to me, being an entrepreneur is the way to get out of the lower middle class up to the middle and upper middle class in this country. And that's what a lot of immigrants understand anyway. Immigrants are some of our best entrepreneurs.
For sure. For sure. I actually love working with immigrants precisely because so many of them come with that entrepreneurial vision. It's like what gets a person to say that they've had enough with whatever poverty or situation or issues that they've had in their country, and to make a decision that they're going to like go and do something in search for a better life. It's the same decision inside the entrepreneur. It's like, I'm going to take my fate in my own hands, and I'm going to make decisions, and I'm going to go for it. And that's why I love being a lawyer. That's why I love being a business owner, right? But it's also why I really love working with our clients, because it's like, that's what they do. And same for you. You're working with business owners. You're in it. And it's like, it brings this like new energy, this new spirit, this new soul for life. That's like, hey, let's not settle for garbage. Let's go for the life we want.
Dude, I'm not exaggerating here. I got the chills when you were making that analogy, because I talk all the time about when I started my own business, I woke up that morning and I looked at the world differently. Like, the world just looked different to me. There was no one giving me a paycheck. There was no fail safe. I burned the boat, and the freedom was so profound for me that nobody could tell me what to do that day. Nobody. Well, I guess they could try, but I was in charge of my own fate, and you just nailed it. I mean, it's the same thing with somebody who says, screw it. I know it's going to be tough and it may not work, but I'm going to seek a better situation for my family. So
that's right.
That's probably why, I don't know the numbers, so I would be making them up, but I know that entrepreneurs, that there's a high percentage that are immigrants, and it's probably approaching 50% coming with that mentality of, I got here myself. Well, let me just make it myself and not rely on someone else for a job,
And I would say, taking it like, to the core of the United States as a whole, it's like, that's why the United States is so great about business.
Yeah.
It's like, because we immigrated here and we were freaking fed up with whatever crap we were dealing with in Europe mostly. And it's like, hey, let's come here and let's build a new country that works for us. And let's not even settle.
Yeah.
And it's like, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. And by the way, I like totally apolitical here. A lot of the wealthy immigrant entrepreneurs that I know sing the praises of the United States so much because of the opportunity.
Yes.
Right. It's like you where I'm from, you just can't do what I've done here. And so I appreciate that opportunity. Like you said, that's sort of the core freedom to just pursue whatever the heck you want to pursue. And yeah, we've got a lot of other issues that we've got to work on in this country. But at the end of the day, it's still, as far as I know, the best place to start a business and make something of yourself.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah. Dude, Otis, you're the man. I really appreciate your time today. And thank you for being on with us.
Yeah, you're awesome, Brett. Thanks a lot.